Imagine this, a regular morning. You're sitting in your kitchen. You're having coffee with a friend, chatting about random stuff. And at some point, you start talking about sneakers. You say, I really want some new Nike Air Max. Just out loud, just in conversation. You didn't Google anything. You didn't search for anything. You didn't even unlock your phone. But an hour later, you open Instagram, and what do you see? An ad for Nike Air Max. Those exact sneakers, that exact model. Coincidence? Maybe, or maybe not. This video is about one of the most widespread fears of the modern world, a belief shared by millions of people around the world. A question that everyone seems to know the answer to, but almost nobody actually knows the truth. Is your phone really listening to you? Today we're going to tear this myth apart. No panic, no conspiracy theories, just facts, experiments, and logic. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll look at your phone with completely different eyes. To understand where this myth comes from, we need to go back to 2007. Apple releases the first iPhone. A couple of years later, Android appears. Then Instagram. Then Siri. And within just a few years, every person on the planet has a device in their pocket with a microphone, a camera, GPS, and a constant connection to the internet. By 2024, there are more than 4.5 billion smartphones on the planet. That's more than the number of toothbrushes. Seriously. And here's what's interesting. The first suspicions about phone listening didn't appear right away. Until around 2014 to 2015, most people didn't even think about it. A phone was just a phone. You called, you texted, you took pictures of cats. And then the stories started appearing. First, isolated cases. Then, a flood. People began noticing. They'd say something out loud and then see an ad for that exact thing. Without a single search query, forums and social media started exploding. I was discussing a vacation in Italy with my husband. An hour later, Instagram showed me hotels in Rome. My friend and I were talking about dog food, and I got an ad for Pedigree. I don't even have a dog. I was complaining to my mom on the phone about back pain, and then I started getting ads for orthopedic mattresses. There were so many stories like this that by 2016 to 2017, it was no longer just a fringe conspiracy theory. It became a mainstream belief. Surveys showed that more than half of Americans believe their phone records their conversations. And you know what? You can't really blame them. Because in 2013, something happened that changed everything. Former NSA contractor Edward Snowden leaked thousands of classified documents to the press, and the world learned that American intelligence agencies were indeed conducting mass surveillance on citizens, wiretapping calls, reading messages, collecting metadata on millions of people. The program was called PRISM, and it involved Google, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, and Yahoo. This was confirmed by documents. After that, trust in tech companies collapsed, and that's when the mass belief was born. If intelligence agencies were listening to us, then corporations are too. Not for security, but for advertising. Simple logic. And at first glance, bulletproof. But is it really true? Let's break down the arguments of those who say, yes, the phone is listening to us. And let's be honest, the arguments are strong. Argument number one, the most powerful, the most emotional, personal experience. Millions of people around the world tell the same story. And here's what's important. These people aren't lying. They genuinely saw that ad after their conversation. This is real experience. There are hundreds of videos online where people run experiments. They put their phone on the table and start repeating keywords. And after a while, an ad for exactly that. These videos get millions of views, and the comments underneath are nothing but confirmation. Thousands of people writing, same thing happened to me. Argument number two, technical capability. Your phone is equipped with a microphone that's always active. Otherwise, how would Siri, Google Assistant, or Alexa work? They need to hear the wake word, "Hey Siri," or "Okay Google," which means the microphone is listening all the time. Every time you speak near your phone, the microphone can potentially record it. This isn't theory, it's a fact of the device's architecture. On top of that, when you install an app, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you personally grant it access to your microphone. With your own hands, you tap allow. One tap and the app gets access to your microphone. One single press. Argument number three, and this might be the most compelling one. In 2018, the Cambridge Analytica scandal erupted. Facebook had been sharing data of tens of millions of users with a third-party company, without those users' knowledge. In 2019, Bloomberg reported that Amazon employees were listening to recordings of users' conversations with Alexa. Real people listening to real conversations in real homes. Picture this, a real person sitting in an office listening to you talking in your own home, hearing your private conversations, your arguments, your singing in the shower. And this isn't conspiracy, it was confirmed. Google was caught tracking users' locations even when they had turned that feature off. Think about that. You press disable and it keeps working anyway. These companies have already proven they're willing to collect data secretly. They've already done it, and they were caught. So why wouldn't they listen to us through the microphone? Argument number 4, the sheer frequency of coincidences. Okay, one coincidence is a coincidence, 2, a fluke. But when it happens again and again, when you say something and an hour later you see an ad and it keeps repeating, many people say these coincidences happen regularly. And I don't blame you if you're sitting there thinking, well, obviously, of course they're listening. The arguments look ironclad, but now let's look at the other side. And now, the counter arguments. This is where it gets really interesting. Counter argument number 1, technical, and it's devastating. Let's do the math. 4 billion smartphones. 1 hour of recording is roughly 100 to 150 megabytes. If you record just 8 hours a day, that's over a gigabyte from a single phone. 4 exabytes of data every single day. To put that in perspective, the entire internet traffic of planet Earth is roughly the same amount. Just the wiretapping alone would generate as much data as all of the world's internet traffic combined. It's technically impossible. No company has that kind of server capacity. No network could handle that data flow. And critically, it would be impossible to hide, because if your phone were constantly transmitting audio, it would show up in network traffic. Any cybersecurity expert could detect that data transfer, and many have checked. The result? Nothing. Counter argument number 2, science. In 2018, researchers from Northeastern University in Boston conducted a large-scale study. They tested over 17,000 Android apps. 17,000 apps, including Facebook and another 8,000 apps that sent data to Facebook's servers. Result? 0. Not a single app secretly activated the microphone. Not one. But, and this is important, the researchers did find something else. Some apps were recording your screen activity and sending it to servers. They were tracking what you did on your screen, but they weren't listening. They don't listen, but they watch. Remember that. Counterargument number 3, and this is the most important part of this entire video. Remember this moment. Your phone doesn't need to listen to you because it already knows everything about you. Your location, every second. Your phone knows where you are. At home, at work, at the gym, at the mall, at the hospital, at a friend's place. Every single search query. All of them. Even the one you Googled at 3 a.m. thinking nobody would ever know. Which apps you open and how much time you spend in each one. Down to the second, every online purchase, what you bought, when, how much you paid, and what you added to your cart but didn't buy. Your contacts, who you call most often, who you text, who you ignore, which Wi-Fi networks you connect to. And that means which people you're near. If you and your friend are on the same Wi-Fi, the algorithm knows you're together, which posts you like, which ones you linger on, and critically, at which exact moment in a video you pause and rewatch. Now imagine, an algorithm collects all of this, not for one day, for months, for years. It knows your habits better than you do. It knows what you want to buy before you even realize it yourself. It's called predictive analytics, technology that predicts your behavior based on data. Here's a famous example. The retail chain Target, USA, 2012. Target's algorithm determined, based solely on a young woman's purchases, that she was pregnant and started sending her coupons for baby products. The problem was, even her own father didn't know about the pregnancy. He stormed into the store to complain. Why are you sending my teenage daughter ads for diapers? A week later, he called back and apologized. His daughter was indeed pregnant. The algorithm knew before the family did. And that was in 2012, 14 years ago. Imagine what the algorithms can do today. Counter-argument number 4, psychological. And it explains a lot. There's a psychological phenomenon called the frequency illusion, or Bader-Meinhof effect. The idea is simple. Once you start thinking about something, you begin noticing it everywhere. You buy a red car, and suddenly you see red cars at every intersection, even though there are exactly as many as before. It's not magic, it's your brain filtering information. The same thing happens with ads. Facebook shows you hundreds of ads per day. You ignore 99% of them, but when one happens to match something you just talked about, you remember it. And the thousands of times the ads didn't match, you simply don't remember those. Your brain doesn't flag them as important important. This is called confirmation bias. Counter-argument number 5. Legal. Secretly recording conversations is a direct violation of privacy laws. In Europe, GDPR. In the US, federal and state laws. In Russia, personal data protection laws. If secret wiretapping were discovered, the fines would be in the tens of billions. It would be the biggest scandal in tech history. These companies employ hundreds of thousands of people. If a secret listening program existed, someone would have leaked the information, just like Snowden. But after all these years, 0 whistleblowers. Not a single leak, not a single piece of evidence. The evidence folder is completely empty. All right, we've examined both sides. Time for the verdict. Is your phone really listening to you? The answer? Most likely a myth. But with a massive caveat. There is no evidence that Facebook, Google, or Apple secretly record your conversations to show you ads. Technically, it's possible, but practically, it's impractical, risky, illegal, and unnecessary. Because the reality is scarier than the myth. They don't need to hear your voice. They read your actions. They analyze your habits. They know your desires. Sometimes before you do. You don't need to say, "I want sneakers." The algorithm already knows. Because yesterday you spent 14 seconds on a sneaker page. Because your friend bought the same pair. Because the season is right. Because your old pair is 11 months old and the algorithm remembers. They don't need your voice. They have something far more valuable, your entire digital life. But wait, I promised you an unexpected twist, and here it is. In 2018, journalists discovered that Facebook had filed a patent for a technology that would activate your phone's microphone when a specific TV commercial plays. The concept? An ultrasonic signal, inaudible to humans, is embedded in a TV commercial. Your phone picks it up and records what you're doing at that moment. You can't hear this signal, but your phone can. Facebook said they never used this technology. It's just a patent, just an idea. But why would you patent a technology you don't plan to use? And here's something that's definitely not just an idea. Amazon openly admitted that employees listen to recordings of user conversations with Alexa. Apple confirmed the same for Siri. Google for Google Assistant. All 3 companies confirmed it. Yes, real people listen to your recordings. Not in real time, not for ads, but to improve quality. Still, the fact remains, your words were heard by strangers. So here's the full picture. Do they listen to show you sneaker ads? Probably not. Do they have the technology to do it? Yes. Have they done something similar before? Yes. Do they collect so much data that listening isn't even necessary? Absolutely. So next time you see a suspiciously accurate ad, know this: you probably weren't listened to. You were calculated. And what's scarier, a phone that listens or a phone that knows you better than you know yourself and stays silent? Check what permissions you've given your apps right now. Seriously, pause this video and check. If this video made you think, hit that like button. YouTube's algorithm is calculating you too, and a like will help show this video to the people who need to see it. Subscribe. We break down myths that millions believe in. And in the next video, we're going to debunk another myth that almost everyone believes. See you there.